Why was FBI Director James Comey not invited to that summit?
Well, a couple of reasons. One is his boss was. The nation's top law enforcement official, Attorney General Eric Holder, attended. The third is, there was we wanted to make sure that there wasn't that there wasn't a perception that this conference was overly focused on law enforcement tactics.
I can't take it. Joining us now is Congressman Peter King, of course, Republican from New York, former chair of the House Homeland Security Committee, currently serves on that committee. Congressman, before we get to that lunacy, let me ask you about the threat that of Al-Shabaab. First of all, Al-Shabaab makes a video. Should we be leading the news with that for 48 hours because Al-Shabaab made a video, or should we ignore it as far as the media and the public goes and let law enforcement handle it?
I believe primarily it should be law enforcement. I think it's important for the American people to know. I wouldn't do it in the hysterical way that it was done on a lot of stations, showing the face of the guy with the mask on and all that, or his face covered and the camouflage, because it gives them a notoriety they don't deserve. I think it is important for the American people, though, to know that we have these constant threats, but it's sort of a balance. I don't think we should give Al-Shabaab that much coverage. It should be put in as a straight news story, and it's important that the FBI and the local police and all our intelligence agencies are working to stop it. Other than the fact that they put out the video, the fact is we are constantly on alert about different types of threats. Al-Qaeda is there. It's going to remain there for quite a while, and these offshoots, like Al-Shabaab being one of them. So we have to take it seriously, but I would say that I would not be giving Al-Shabaab this type of coverage. This is a great recruiting tool for them now.
All right. What you just heard from Josh Earnest, I had no idea until over the weekend that at this cockamamie summit on terror at the White House, the FBI director wasn't invited, and now we find out because they didn't want to give the appearance or the impression that it was focused on law enforcement?
Well, I'll say this in a perverse sort of way. Josh Earnest was being honest. This was not focused on law enforcement. That was the problem. It was, as far as I'm concerned, it was a touchy-feely, hand-holding type event. We're talking about finding jobs. We're talking about encouraging people not to get into violence where you behead people and burn them to death. I mean, and every effort was made not to call it Islamist terrorism. The fact is that we can have all of the talk we want about trying to make the world better. Our immediate obligation is to keep Americans safe. And you do that by tough, strict law enforcement, gathering intelligence, the FBI and local police working together, CIA, all our intelligence agencies. The FBI director, more than anyone, should have been there. And for Josh Earnest to say, don't worry about it, Eric Holder was there, well, that makes it all the more reason to worry. I mean, listen, we need someone who is in the trenches every day with law enforcement at all levels and has access to all of the possible threats against the U.S. That's who you need there.
Absolutely.
He's much more important than any of the psychobabble people that might be there. And ironically, the Russians sent their top security people there.
Yeah, it's just beyond belief. Rudy Giuliani, he's backtracking now. The president has a great American story, blah, 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 blah. I wasn't questioning his motives. Why do you believe he's backtracking?
I don't know if he's really backtracking. I was actually there, not for the Scott Walker part, but I was there right before that when he spoke at a fundraiser we were holding for Dan Donovan, who hopefully will be the next congressman from Staten Island and Brooklyn. And I spent time with Rudy. He is very emotional over this issue. He believes that President Obama is hurting the country. And Rudy just would say to me, he doesn't understand why the president doesn't have the intensity, why he doesn't have the feeling when he speaks about terrorism and combating terrorism. And I think what he wanted to do was say he was not questioning whether or not he was a patriot, but he was really believes that President Obama does not have his heart in it the way other presidents have.
And do you agree with that, Congressman?
That he doesn't have his heart? Yes, I feel that he looks at it in a very, what he can say, intellectual, almost antiseptic way, that he has to always equalize it. He has to always take one step forward, then one step sideways. They'll talk about
Congressman, we got
2009, when he made his apology to us.
Right,
so
right.
He does not have the same fervor that other presidents have had.
Should Rudy apologize?
No, he should not apologize, and he has not apologized. Right. He's explained the context of it, that he was not saying that he was not patriotic, but he did say that he does not have the fervor and the drive that a president needs to effectively carry out a war.
All right. Congressman, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, Steve, thank you.
Congressman Peter King. We're coming back. Don't go away.